the level of innovation that's gone into these products over the last 10, 12 years is really remarkable. And
Okay, spot on listeners, I am back and I brought somebody, an expert in this, to help us discuss this low and no alcohol beverage category and what's going on with it. The no and low alcohol category value surpassed 11 billion, B as in billion, in 2022. And according to the new International Wines and Spirit record, data shows that this no and low alcohol consumption is going to increase by a third by 2026 by the spearheading of these really no alcohol products. So, today I brought with me someone who knows this in and out. His name is Justin Kissinger. He's the president and CEO of Worldwide Brewing Alliance, and he's been involved in this whole brewing sector for more than 10 years, and also driving policy for the sector for the United States. And he has a BS degree in political science from the University of Scranton, and a law degree. So I'm sure that has been quite interesting in your job, Mr. Justin. And so I'm so excited to have you here on Spot On.
well, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited for the conversation.
I'm thrilled about this. I've been following this. I find it intriguing. Now, Justin, I am a Jersey girl. You can tell by my accent, and I understand that there's no caffeine in my coffee. That one took me a while. I could drink coffee without caffeine. All right, but really, vodka without any vodka, beer without any beer. This is wild. And it is booming. Can you just tell me, what is driving this trend?
Yeah, I guess the first thing is you've pointed out a little misconception. A no alcohol beer is still beer. The way that it's made, the way that it's produced, it's every bit the beer as any other beer. Most people, when they think of non-alcoholic beer, think of legacy non-alcoholic beers, the O'Doul's or the
Right.
St. Pauli, or things that have been around since the 1970s at scale. The products that we're starting to see come on the market today that are branded with the same brands as the alcoholic beers that you've known for decades are fundamentally different. The level of innovation that's gone into these products over the last 10, 12 years is really remarkable. And when you're having a non-alcoholic beer, it's the same beer. It's made the same way, and the alcohol comes out at the end. So the process for making a Heineken 00 or a Bud 0 or a Coors Edge or a Carlsberg 0 is very, very, very similar to the process of making any other beer. You're making wort, you're fermenting, you're creating beer, and then you're de-alcoholizing it. In many instances, it's in the de-alcoholization process, the vapors and the scents and the things that give the beer character are captured and put back into the beer. So you're getting as like an experience with the non-alcoholic version as you are with the full strength version. And whether you choose a full strength beer, a lower alcohol variant of a full strength beer, or a beer without alcohol, you're getting the same adult occasion. And that's what beer is all about, right? It's about an experience and a social occasion. You have beer at a ballpark, you have beer at a wedding, you have beer at a meal with your family. The idea behind these products is to enable a new type of beer drinking occasion where it's not about the alcohol in the bottle or in the can or in the glass. It's about the experience of having the beverage and what the social cues that it gives you. And anyone's had this experience, right? You walk into a room and people are drinking and you want to be part of the social occasion. But circumstances are such that maybe drinking alcohol isn't the thing that's appropriate for you that day. Well, it can be tough to be soda person in that occasion or water person in that occasion. But these lower and no alcohol variants create a social permission structure where people can fully participate in those adult occasions without feeling like they're stepping outside of what everyone else is enjoying, right? My Bud 0 is the same as your Budweiser, but we're choosing the type of product that's fit for the occasion and the things that we have to do in our lives before or after we are together.
So the difference is between the old duels of yesteryear is now this new process where the whole essence of flavor stays in and the alcohol is just removed.
Yeah, and it's not to run down any previous products, right? Like
No,
anything
no,
else, innovation and investment
right,
changes the things that we're able to accomplish with them.
right.
And what the goals of the producers are in making these products. And I mean, I'm going to talk a lot about the big mainstream products, but we're starting to see this in craft beer. We're starting to see whole breweries that are dedicated to nothing but no alcohol beer. These are products that are every bit as crafted as any alcoholic beer. And, that's one of the coolest things about beer is that beer's not defined by the strength of the product. It's defined by the style of the beverage. You get an IPA, you don't get an IPA at a particular ABV, a 4% IPA, a 6% IPA, a 0% IPA. The goal is to give the character and taste experience of an IPA. Same as a lager, same as any other variety of beer that you might be familiar with.
Can you
And
explain what an ABV is? Because I don't think
sure,
a lot of listeners know
alcohol
that.
by volume is what ABV stands for. It's the generally known way of determining how much pure ethanol is in the glass.
Okay.
So an average beer might be about 4.5% ethanol, meaning that 4% of the total volume of liquid in the bottle, 4.5% of the total volume of liquid in the bottle is composed of ethanol. For something like liquor, it would be much higher, so like a 40% ABV. You'll sometimes hear that referred to as proof, which is double the ABV of the product. But ABV is merely a way of determining the amount of ethanol given the total volume of the serving that you're getting.
And wines can be all over the place, right?
Yeah, wine is pretty variable. There are some wines that are in the low end of around ABV, of around 8% ABV. I think most wine at this point is somewhere around 14%,
Right, 13%.
13% ABV.
Okay, and that makes sense that, hard liquor, distilled liquor is going to have a higher ABV because it's a smaller volume. It's a shot or whatever versus a beer as such. All right. So who's driving this trend here? Is there a certain age group that's saying, I want this?
Oh man, I think we're seeing it across all different demographics, right?
Mhm.
It's like I said, it's an occasion-based product. It's something that is enabling people to have different types of occasions than what they're accustomed to. I think you see a lot of young people who are gravitating towards these products. People who are trying to pace themselves or to integrate these into ordinary drinking occasions. I know a lot of professionals who are relying on these products as part of their day-to-day. Obviously, if you do a lot of socializing, you're encountering alcoholic beverages in bars quite a bit. Again, these are tools for fitting moderation and enabling moderation into occasions that are traditionally for adult beverages.
Yeah.
So it's not a particular demographic, I think, that you can identify. It's more all of the people who are participating in these types of drinking occasions, choosing and really discovering that these products taste great, give you the same experience that you're accustomed to with an adult beverage, but giving you much more control over the amount of alcohol that you're consuming when you're in those types of adult occasions.
We did a whole episode on this whole sober curious movement, dry January, now it's damp January or sober September or whatever. And I find here, obviously as a professor at Boston University, I'm finding that these Gen Zs are really enjoying this mocktailish, no alcohol beer, and they want to just go out and have fun and not have a hangover the next day, or they just want to be around people. And, post-pandemic, they haven't been around people and they just want to enjoy themselves. And, I'm blessed to be able to teach a course in Italy every summer. And you go there and the teenagers, the college kids in Italy, they don't drink to get drunk. They just want to socialize. They have the spritzes and, and they don't really consume it the same way. And so I thought this whole low no is really fascinating and almost like, when you think of kids in college or whatever, or young adults, they're drinking, oftentimes, more than what is moderate. And now that category, and people are just saying, why are we doing this? I think the whole thing is fascinating.
I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, I think brewers in particular have a real chance here to transform the beer drinking occasion with these products and to enable a different type of experience, which is focused on moderation and social enjoyment and togetherness, which is really the purpose of this whole class of products, right? It's to enable social occasions. It's to enable people to come together around adult occasions and have a good time, and to facilitate the type of occasion that they want. And I think you're right that, we, by promoting these products, by seeing consumers adopt them, we can transform the way that people are drinking. We can reduce things like heavy episodic drinking, binge drinking, right?
Right.
We can reduce the speed that people are consuming ethanol during an evening so that they're more in control, but staying in the fun that these products are designed to promote. Things like drink driving, making sure, in the United States, right, there's a big car culture. You have to drive to a lot of places. Well, if you want to drive to a bar, but you want to be safe, well, this is an opportunity to be in a drinking location, but to make sure that you're not at risk of over consuming. And different consumption patterns that we can promote, things like pacing, spacing, where you alternate between a full strength beer or a low alcohol beer,
Right.
and a non-alcohol beer, right? Those have the added benefit of reducing the amount of alcohol that someone is consuming, but extending the occasion that they're having in the place. The example I like to use is if you want to meet your friends at a bar to watch a football game and you're going to drink beer during that football game. Well, if you're having full strength beer and you're drinking that during the game, you might be done after the first half because you've had two and you want to make sure that you can drive home,
Right.
Safely and responsibly by the end of the game. The non-alcoholic beers, the low alcoholic beers, allow you to stay in that occasion, to watch the whole game, maybe order another beer from the bar, but not have the ethanol, and so you're able to remove a lot of that risk or mitigate a lot of that risk,
Right.
within those moments.
All right. So I don't want to brag, but I've started to play pickleball. Okay. I'm not ready for the tournaments yet, but I'm
You'll
starting to
get
play
there. You'll
pickleball.
get, it's a journey.
Thank you, Justin. So anyway, after the pickleball, there's the bar. It was a cute little club. There's a bar, and I go up and I see on tap are not one, but 4 of these no alcohol beers on tap. I was like, isn't this fabulous? So here it is. You're working out, and then you can do other things other than pickleball there, but you want to afterwards just hang out maybe with the people you played and hopefully beat. But you don't want to have alcohol. So you sit, I said, this is, it's fascinating.
Bringing it to draft is sort of the next big frontier, right? The more penetration, the more opportunities we have to get these products into draft and to be part of, the best beer drinking experience, right? Which is fresh beer off draft. The more consumers are going to be delighted by this product, and the more opportunities we're going to have to really drive it into social consciousness. The thing that I'm most excited about is that we're seeing it more and more become a movement within the industry to produce these types of products. I mentioned earlier, there are whole breweries that are springing up that are doing nothing but no alcohol beer, that are investing in this as the principal thing that they're going to bring to the market and to consumers. And those sorts of innovations, those sorts of business innovations are the enablers of the type of transformation that I was talking about earlier. Bringing it to draft, making sure that people can get a delicious fresh pint of non-alcoholic beer or 2% beer that tastes great, that gives them exactly the beer drinking experience that they were hoping for, is the next phase in the growth of this and the next real opportunity to see this really explode. And there are places in the world where this is less of a phenomenon, right? Like if you look at a country like Spain in Europe, it goes up and down, but the amount of non-alcoholic beer that's consumed in that culture is like 10% of the amount of beer that is consumed there generally. It's a huge part of the market. And it's because people can get the experience that they're looking for, and it's become normalized as part of how you would drink.
Right.
And that's not something that we've had in the United States or in some other countries, but it's starting to build everywhere. And the benefits of it to people's lifestyles, to the way that they're able to interact with these products, are going to be more and more obvious as we continue on that journey. So draft, the thing that you're talking about, is a great example of where we have those opportunities.
We all know the number of reasons why you eat something or you drink something is from taste. So going back to where you started from the very beginning of this conversation, you have a product that actually tastes good. And what about like vodka? Vodka doesn't have much of a taste anyway, but I mean, you can get vodka without vodka, you go whiskey. So where is all of that in the taste category? Is that still having this wonderful taste perception?
So I'm less familiar with the liquor industry generally, but the big one of the defining characteristics of hard liquor is its strength, right? There are different rules around different types of product. Whiskeys or bourbons are all made to be a certain type of strength. The way that you have to create a non-alcoholic version of that is, as I understand it, much different than the way that you would do it with beer, because of the conformation of the product. I think what a mocktail is able to deliver for a consumer is a similar experience to a cocktail, right? And that you can get some of that craftsmanship from the bartender. You can get some of the mixology elements of it that people respond to in that type of an occasion. And I mean, that's also a great experience when it's what you're looking for, right? If you want to have a cocktail, but you don't want to have alcohol, like, more power to you. I think that there's a little bit of a difference in terms of the type of product it is and the way that it's made and consumed, but it's definitely the experience that it delivers that's the key part of those mocktail type of things.
That's great. I did try, I love wine, but I did try, I'm Italian, all right, Justin, stop. So, but I have tried a no alcoholic wine just to see, because of all this products being done, and I'm not thinking it's that good. So is there hope for wine to get to a level that's great?
I'm sure they're working very hard at it.
Yeah.
The way that wine is made and what ends up in your glass is different than beer, right? In order to create a similar taste and mouth feel, like the way that it feels in your mouth, the body of the product requires quite a bit of sugar. As I understand the production method of it, and it's a much more difficult balancing act to get that to taste the way that wine tastes at the end of that process, right? If you think about the way wine's made, it's fermented, which means the sugar is converted into ethanol, and the ethanol is part of the product. If you then take that ethanol out, you need to replace it with something in order to give that product the same consistency as it would have. Well, sugar is the thing that you would put in to do that. And that it kind of brings you back towards where you're starting.
Right.
There is quite some effort in the wine industry. I know that they've written about it in various places. I defer to a wine expert to give you a better insight on where they are, but I'm sure that that's an area that they're working very hard to innovate in. And it wouldn't surprise me if a few years down the line, someone cracks the code and makes a really delicious non-alcoholic or lower, at least wines that are lower in alcohol in terms of the average ABV of that category.
That's great. That's great. And I hope so. Let's hope that comes our way here. So let's talk about price point here, because these no alcohol or low alcohol beers, they're basically the same price as regular beer or even more. Tell me.
So yeah, they're in general, it's tough to make blanket statements, but in general, they're line priced with the alcohol containing variety. Why is that? Well, it's actually a little bit more expensive to make because there's an additional step in the production process where you're de-alcoholizing the product. So I mentioned earlier, you're making beer when you make a non-alcoholic beer. You do the whole process of making beer. And then there is an additional step where you de-alcoholize it. There's a variety of different techniques that you can use to do that. You can do it with the way that the type of yeast that you use to ferment the alcohol. There's centrifuges that allow you to separate the alcohol out. There's methods of extracting the alcoholic vapors by increasing the temperature. There's all of these different techniques that can be used for making alcoholic beer. But the sort of unifying element of it is there's this additional step that happens in the production process. And anytime that you add something to a production process, you're adding cost and additional factors into the price. By making sure that they're the same price or similarly priced to the mother brands where they're extensions of known brands, it's all the same product, right? Like I said, a Budweiser, a Bud Zero, you want the consumer to have the same experience. So even modulating for the different production processes, you're trying to make sure that a consumer can make an easy choice between those products based on what it is that they're looking for.
Right.
From individual.
That's great. That's great. And so what do you think, this could do for people who may have a problem moderating their intake? I mean, is there any studies that have been done to show that this can help people better control it? Or
I think that it's probably best for people who are having real issues with controlling their alcohol use. So people who are alcoholics, people who have an alcohol use disorder, people who are worried that they may have an alcohol use disorder, these products are not designed for them. Okay. And if that's what an individual is concerned about, I mean, that is something that they should be talking about with their healthcare professional. They should be taking the steps that they need in order to deal with those issues. These products are not designed or marketed for people as an aid for stopping drinking, where you really need to stop drinking for some particular reason. Right. It's much more a tool for moderating consumption within occasions for people who are already choosing to drink, or for people who would generally choose to drink in a certain way, but can't have alcohol. So if you enjoy drinking beer, but I don't know, you're pregnant, you could have a zero alcohol beer as an alternative to stay in the occasion. But no, it's, I come from a place where I just don't think that these products are something that we should be putting in front of people who have alcoholism or who are in recovery. That's not really the purpose of them.
So what about the calories? Because if you take the alcohol, we know that alcohol has 9 calories per gram, carbohydrates have 4. So if you take the alcohol out of the beer or the vodka or whatever, I'm assuming the calories go down.
So let's see, I guess it would be different based on the particular product. Okay. So it's tough to make a blanket statement of how the calories are, and fortunately, brewers put calories on the label. So if you're looking and want to know how many calories, that the companies generally make that information available to you, so you can count calories and know what you're getting when you look at the bottle. That said, there's some interplay between making sure that you get the mouthfeel right of the product, and that can be done in a variety of ways. With a little bit of added sugar, with certain types of flavoring, with different techniques in the brewing process that enable you to have more body at the end of the process. So again, it's sort of product dependent. The nice thing about beer is that the way that it's made gives you a lot of body in the glass, right? There's lots of fiber, there's lots of product beyond the ethanol that is in beer at the end stage that gives you more of a body in the product. So you don't have quite that trade-off of consistency, taste, and calories as you do with some other types of things.
Right. All right. So I'm going to be watching, I'm going to be shopping, I'm going to be price comparing, I'm going to be label comparing. And I think this whole thing is absolutely fascinating.
Very responsible consumer.
Yeah, that's right. And I look in your crystal ball. So what are you predicting with this market?
Oh boy, if I had that, I'd be on Wall Street. No, it's I think this is a real growth area. I think that it's a product that's fit for the moment. Yeah. I think there's lots of people you look at Dry January and the number of people who are recognizing that they need to be at least aware of the amount that they're drinking and the way that they're drinking. And these products are fit for that purpose. This is a real opportunity for people to transform the way that they consume adult beverages and the way that they interact with our products. And it's an opportunity for the businesses that are making them to delight consumers with beer, but to make sure that they're meeting them where they are. So I mentioned Spain. We've seen up to 10% of the market as zero alcohol beer, non-alcoholic beer. There's no reason that we can't get to half that in most countries over some period of time. And ultimately, this is a trend that's being driven by consumers. That they're choosing these products. The companies are meeting that demand. Right. You're seeing more and more options, more and more varieties of beer that are available in the marketplace. As that continues to expand, the sky's the limit, right? There's a great opportunity for people to incorporate this in the way that they enjoy their beverages. And as long as the products taste good and meet the consumer's expectation of what the brand should taste like, there's no reason that these can't fit into a drinking occasion as a tool for moderating.
I love what you just said, because people talk with their wallets. And so if they want this and you're producing it good quality, and what a good thing to get behind rather than drinking, helping them to lower their alcohol intake. Justin, we got to get people to push everybody to get more fruits and vegetables. Same thing. That's the next thing. So once you get this category of beer with no beer, low beer, could you work on fruits and vegetables for the consumer?
We'll put it on the list. I mean, there's a role for policy in a lot of this, right? There's opportunities for policymakers to enact things that make these products more available, that make them more marketable, that can help us lower the price points of them. I mentioned before, these are products that are adult beverages. They should be sold with other adult beverages, but policy can move consumers from high strength alcohol products to lower strength alcohol products without denying consumers the experience that they want to have and the reason that they choose alcoholic products in the first place. And a combination of commercial will, consumer adoption, and policy acceleration is a real opportunity to see gains in this category that are virtuous and mutually reinforcing.
That's great. So with that, I just want to thank you so much for coming on Spot On. And so all I can say is cheers.
Cheers to you. Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun, and I think it's Go Terriers, right?
Yeah, you got that right, buddy.
That's it.